So the Bulls season review for 2018. It was a season where the Bulls finished in 12th spot overall, which was the wooden spoon in the South African Conference. It was a 6-win, 10-loss record, equal with the Stormers in that regard, but once all the details are taken into account, it was the Stormers who finished slightly above the Bulls. So wooden spoon. But believe it or not, it's an improved record from last year. Last year was 4 wins and 11 losses, so it is improvement in an arguably tougher competition this year, more competitive. And yeah, I'm going to stick my neck out and say I believe John Mitchell has got the Bulls on the right track. After kind of a couple of years going nowhere, I'm going to say the Bulls are in the right direction. That's my call. I will just say that I am pre-recording this video. By the time this video goes live, I'll probably be getting ready to go to the airport. Going to be on a plane for a couple of days, and then back in New Zealand. So any comments, I'll get back to them once I'm back in New Zealand and had a sleep probably. But for the Bulls, we'll go over the good and the bad. The good didn't have too much problem scoring points. They are 6th overall in points scored and 6th for tries scored, so they did get some points. Their lineout was solid. They were the 3rd best at winning their lineout for percentage. And when you got Snyman and Diaco, that kind of makes sense. Their boot work was good. Pollard, I think, for the most part, he was kicking, well, the team was kicking 84%, which is 2nd place in the comp. And the defense, in some ways, was effective. 13th overall for run meters conceded, so not conceding as many run meters as other teams. Same with the advantage line. I guess the two kind of go hand in hand. They were 13th overall for letting teams get over the advantage line, so at the right end of the table. They were getting some good distance from the boot as well. 5th overall for average kick meters. And in terms of their work with the ball in their hands, 11th overall for handling errors, so at the right end of the table. So there are some positives there. Able to get points, whether it's by the boot or by tries. And at times, I guess, keeping the opposition not making too many meters at a time. But then there's the bad. They were 3rd overall for points conceded. So if they weren't letting the opposition get too many run meters, they were letting them get line breaks, because they were the 2nd overall for line breaks conceded, 2nd overall for missed tackles. So it seems like when it went wrong for the Bulls, it went catastrophically wrong. For the most part, the stats are good, but then when it went wrong, boy, did it go bad. With the ball, they are 12th overall for run meters, 15th, so dead last for getting over the advantage line themselves, dead last for building 7 or more phases, dead last for tackle busts. So there's an area to improve. Maybe they should sign Akira Ioane, because he plays for the Blues and he is a tackle busting machine. That seems to be one area that the Bulls could use a guy who busts some tackles, because they are dead last. 2nd overall for penalties conceded as well, which kind of goes hand in hand with not being able to build more than 7 phases in a row. Average 2 times a game. If you're conceding too many penalties when you got the ball, the opposition gets it. So also, you felt like at times the Bulls scrum struggled against the big scrummaging teams like the Lions. Schoeman was one of the top guys for conceding penalties this year. I know he's off at the end of the year. He's going to Scotland, but I think he was top 4 for penalties, average penalties conceded per game. So yeah, there's certainly some work-ons there. Cut down the line breaks, get some tackle busts yourself, and get some go-forward ball. In terms of highlights, I mean, they did beat the Sharks away, 40 points to 10. That was a big victory. And also they beat the Hurricanes in round 1, or round 2. First game for both those teams, though, 21-19. So a team that ended up making the semi-finals. The Bulls, who didn't even make the playoffs, managed to knock them off. So that was an encouraging start to their season. I mean, their overall record at home wasn't too bad. I mean, 5 wins out of 8. So just better than half. Obviously, you'd like to bump that up a notch. Their away record was, not the best. They got the 1 win from 8 games. So get a couple more wins at home, pick up another win on the road, and you're pretty much in the playoffs. So, yeah, the Bulls aren't that far away. And especially, I've got to mention the lowlights. There was that loss to the Sunwolves in Singapore, 42 points to 37. That was kind of discouraging, especially when the Bulls at that point were still in the playoff race. And yeah, they lost to the Brumbies at home, 38 points to 28. So again, there were some key games in that season where the Bulls needed absolutely desperately to pick up a win and just weren't able to do it. And were disappointing in those games as well. But in saying that, I looked at the 10 guys who played the most minutes all season for the Bulls, and it is a young squad. It's Creel, who's 24, Pollard, 24, Galant, 23, Kotze, 25, Sneeman, 23, Van Staden, who's 22, Rousseau, who's 22, Diach is 25, Smit is 25, and Odendaal is 25. The oldest guy there, and those top 10 guys for minutes, is 25 years old. So there's a lot of youth in that Bulls team. And that means another year's experience is only meaning they're getting better. It's not like they've got an aging squad, a bunch of guys retiring, although Strauss is retiring. So the question about hooker is one going forward. But for the most part, the core part of the squad is pretty young. So that does bode well. For the future, with John Mitchell, there is always a question about is he going to be able to hold things together? Because traditionally, looking at his record, when he was at the Force, it didn't end well. There was kind of a player revolt against him. The relationship fell out, and eventually he ended up having to leave. Same thing happened with the Lions. Eventually, something happened with the players. They snapped, they had enough, and they wanted him out. I mean, Mitchell obviously said that he's taken some lessons from those coaching experiences with those teams, and he's kind of he's managed to get his formula right. I hope so, because that's year one. Year one is usually fine with him. I think traditionally it was year two that's fine as well, but from there it starts to get a bit patchy. So yeah, let's hope that these guys have still got the buy-in with what the coach is saying. They're still listening to his message, and he's still got them on the right track. Because if he can, then if the progress like this continues, if they're going to go from 4 wins to 6 wins, 6 wins to 8 wins maybe next year, get a 50-50 record, and then kind of push for the playoffs. So perhaps next year, or maybe even the year after. I think with this squad you can potentially look at next year for the Bulls to be challenging. If they'd just seriously got a couple of those wins that they didn't really show up for this year, they probably would have pipped the Sharks. But yeah, they still do have some guys to sort out for contracts. There are some key guys who are already signed up. So like Diacha, Sneeman, Pollard, Creel, all these guys are signed up. Gavoka signed up as well. But guys like Galant and Yakane, not sure what's going to happen with them. Is Mani Libok going to want to stay behind Pollard? They've also got Boshoff, who's under contract for another year. So, and yeah, the question about who's going to be number 2 with Strauss going. So whether they try and bring someone else in or just work on the guys that they've already got is a question. But yeah, that's the Bulls season overall. I'm not sure you would call it a success or a failure, but I mean, I guess if you had to pick one, you'd say it was a slight success. There was progress, but I mean, you can't be too hard on a coach in his first year, so they definitely need to improve next year, and it seems like he's got the players to do it, who are the right kind of age. Should be instilling his message into them for another season. So fingers crossed we see the Bulls kind of back to better days next season. More people attending at Loftus, and yeah, I'm optimistic. But you guys let me know your thoughts on where the Bulls are at, how you think their season went, and yeah, I'll talk to you again once I'm back in New Zealand. All right, see you later.